Hello everyone, welcome back to a new video. We're going to Morocco. We're flying from Amsterdam to Rabat, staying there for 4 days. After that, 2 days in Casablanca and then 2 more days in Marrakesh. So we're starting in Rabat. This is also where we had a wedding of Rachad and Marty, two friends of ours from Amsterdam who did their wedding in Morocco. I had no idea what to expect from Rabat, but I really enjoyed it. It's such a chill town. No one is really bothering you, but it's still this big city vibe and you have a lot of things to do. The Medina is closed off with these walls around it, which I do think is quite nice. And this is the Airbnb that we stayed at in Rabat, which I will share more content of later in this video because it was absolutely amazing in my opinion. And this is the evening when we arrived in Rabat. We went to this supposedly restaurant, but it was more like a club at a certain point. The food and drinks were really amazing, really nice, but it was unfortunate that the music was quite loud. But overall it was definitely a very nice and fun experience to be here, especially with all of the bride and groom's friends. So we're about 30 people from all over the Netherlands mostly, who all came to Morocco to attend the wedding. And as you can see here, Sharif is really enjoying the show. And overall it was also really dark inside, so I had to shoot all of the content with my flash on. Next day, wake up, run for a bit, found this outside gym a little bit outside of the Medina, did a bit of exercise there because damn did I eat a lot the day before. But overall the entire holiday in Morocco actually. And then the rest of Rabat on that day was just walking around, getting a juice, having some lunch and dinner. So this was in a restaurant nearby, a little bit outside of the Medina. Really awesome, very delicious food and also very reasonably priced. And then of course some atay nana. After that we went to the beach shortly and then again just walked around in the Medina doing some shopping. And we're now at the wedding, so we're entering the wedding venue. It's not my first Moroccan wedding, but definitely the first one in this kind, and especially in Morocco. And I did know a little bit what to expect, but even this energy I didn't expect. So the wedding started at around 7. It lasted until around 1, and like from 7 to 1 it was like constantly dancing and a lot of food, which you will see later. So here is when Marty and Rachad entered the venue, and before that also there was a lot of dancing, a lot of things going on, and a lot of rituals, and Rachad and Marty changing dresses every time. And then of course the foods. We have some rabat here. One is with chicken and one is with fish. Both really delicious. And then after that, I think it was sheep. Also really delicious. And then after dinner again, like a lot of dancing. So after the food coma, it's again moving, which luckily is good. And yes, everyone is happy and smiling, but everyone is also sweating, which you don't see in the video because it was extremely hot, but that's also part of the whole experience. And then getting to the cake part, of course, who doesn't love cake? And of course I had to dance a little bit as well, and luckily they put some international songs for the rest of us. And then this is towards the end and already the end of the wedding, and this is the next day. So again, the next day, wake up after a long day, get that juice in, get a nice lunch. We took a cab, did some sightseeing around, and then in the evening we did some werewolfing. So this was the Airbnb that we rented. You enter the place with like that jungle, and I love it. It's insanely nice. It's built by this architectural firm. It's like a open field, and you can open doors, and it changes the structure of the building, etc. And surprisingly cheap as well. I think we paid 120 euros per night, and it hosted about 6 people. That was Rabat, 4 days, and then after that my wife and I traveled to Casablanca by train, which takes about an hour and 15 minutes. We arrived in the afternoon, but we were quite hungry, so we went on Google Maps and looked for this restaurant. It's called Le Cuistot Traditionnel. It was quite empty when we arrived, but maybe it was around 3 or 4 p.m. and of course it's not dinner time. But overall it was really, really nice, and the service was amazing. And then in Casablanca we didn't hear too many good stories from friends about Casa, but we actually really enjoyed it. There's a lot to see, a lot to do, a lot of sightseeing and just walking around. But I also did really help that we chose a bit more of a fancy hotel with a nice pool. So we did chill at the hotel for 2 days as well. And then the next day in the morning we went to this place called Holy Brunch. Also really decent, really nice food. Overall maybe a little bit more expensive, but that's always the case with these fancy places. But of course, compared to back in the Netherlands, it's still very cheap. And then finally, luckily, Casablanca also had a decent coffee place. It's called Percentage Arabica. It was quite nice after 4 days not having any good coffee at all to have some decent coffee. And then on the day itself, we visited Hasan II mosque. Still very great to see. I did visit Casablanca 7 years ago, so I did see it before, but still very nice. And I think in that 7 years a lot changed. This whole boulevard improved a lot, and it's nice to do a lot of walking from the mosque on the boulevard. And the weather was luckily also really great. So I think it was 27, 26 degrees and not very sunny. So that's one of the things that I always remember in Morocco, that the weather was just way too hot. But we had a lot of luck with the weather, both in Rabat and in Casablanca, and later in Marrakesh actually as well. So again, here we're walking on the coast. We went to a mall. Don't even ask us why we did that, but we hoped there was some air conditioning inside, and there was not. And then we arrived back in the hotel, and because the gym was under construction, I did a little bit of complaining, and they offered us a free dinner at the fancy restaurant there. So that was also really nice of them to do that. And the day after they also fixed the gym, so I could still work out a little bit. After that, from Casablanca we took a cab to the train station. From the train station we took a train to Marrakesh. So we're in Marrakesh again, and we met up again with friends from the Netherlands. We booked a riad together, so we stayed there. And again, Marrakesh, also a lot of sightseeing, eating, hanging out, and I really forgot after 7 years being here for the last time how truly awesome Marrakesh is. It's like you're in a movie. It's the chaos, the people, it's everything together. It's such a unique vibe and city That's so different than Casablanca and so different than Rabat. So here we had a dinner at Café des Épices. It was a very nice dinner, and what I like about Marrakesh is that you can eat for literally 60 to 100 dirham, which is about 6 to 10 euros. But you also have places where you can easily spend 30, 40 or 50 euro per person for a dinner. So you can make it as expensive or as cheap as you want. Again, because I do have to get in shape for my own wedding, just doing some exercise in the morning, walking around, and then on the last day we went to visit a hamam. Again, one of the bit of fancier hammams, so not the very traditional ones, but still very nice. And then there was the aeropress championship in Marrakesh, which was located nearby Jebel Fna. So this was very coincidental that there was an aeropress championship, because I was looking around for specialty cafes in Rabat, Casablanca and Marrakesh. And then on that day there was the aeropress championship, so I had some really nice free coffees and also bought some coffee beans for back home. This is at Café Dar Sira. I will add a link in the comments. Really nice place, really decent food, and again, like very good priced. And then the rest of the day we chilled a lot at the Riad in Marrakesh. It had its own pool, so that was nice. The weather was about 30 to 33 degrees, so for Marrakesh standards that's really great. Because 7 years ago when I visited Marrakesh, it was about 45, I think, something in that range, and that was really not enjoyable. On the very last night in Marrakesh we visited Pepe Nero. It's an Italian restaurant and it had a very high rating. So yeah, really nice food, very great interior, so I definitely recommend also going there if after a week you want to eat something else. And then that's it for Morocco. So 8 days in Morocco, really enjoyed it this year. I loved all 3 cities, but Marrakesh is definitely something else. Taking a cab to the airport and flying back to Amsterdam, on to the next adventure. See you in the next one. Ciao ciao.